Well, what's up, guys? Jake with Teen Time. Come to another special little sit-down video for you. I wanted to talk to you about this real quick because we just covered it recently. The whole Glock Gen V thing. Now, for those that might be living under a rock, Glock announced they were discontinuing Gen 3, Gen 4, and Gen 5 of everything, essentially, except for like the 43X and the other slimline guns, because of these evil Chinese imported on Temu and other places, these little switches they can put on the back to essentially turn your Glock into a machine gun, essentially, is what they're arguing, which by definition it did do that. But they were being held responsible for something being created overseas and out of their control. Who was holding them accountable? The Democrats. I know, it's political. It is what it is. All blue states got together and decided they were all going to gang up on Glock and sue them to oblivion. Also, guys, I just found out I got nominated for Micro Influencer of the Year. It's a new category essentially for the Gundies, which is like the Office Dundies almost. Pretty cool that I got this. If you want to check it out, I'll put a link when it comes out down below to their website. You get free entries to sweepstakes and giveaway stuff every time you vote. You can vote every day, all that good stuff. It'll really help me out. So I'm just going to put that on your radar. Again, voting starts December 1st, so it's not quite time yet, but it's kind of cool. I won't be so naive to say that because of these lawsuits, Glock decided to create the Gen V and put it out there. I'm not that stupid. This takes time. This takes months and effort and energy, maybe even years of development. I don't know. This isn't something that just came out, but at the same time, it looks bad from a PR perspective because they were facing all these lawsuits and they chose to discontinue all their previous models while at the same time putting out this new one that's supposed to have all these enhancements, but really it was just to prevent the use of Glock switches. And, well, huh. How did I get there? Okay. This is from Ben Steger. Huh. 19V. How did that get there? Also on Reddit, here's another angle for you. Huh. How did that get there? So, this is actually done by someone who claims to have an FFL SOT, so it's, it's legal if you're worried about that. It is legal for what he did and put out there on the internet for people to see. But what the fuck was the point of the Gen V if it took people with any kind of knowledge of how firearms and how Glocks work? It took them just over 2 weeks to make this happen from the announcement of the Gen V to now. Just over 2 weeks. And it's supposed to prevent a switch. Well, I mean, guys, come on. At first, when this whole thing broke about the Gen V, I really thought, I was obviously mad because I thought they were banging the knee. Not really mad, but upset, annoyed. But then I thought about it, took a step back, thought, okay, this is a business decision. They're clearly like cutting off their leg in order to save their life, right? Because they've got all these people coming after them, lawsuits, all these blue run states. Maybe they're just, trying to save their company from losing all their finances to lawsuits. So maybe this was an attempt to prevent the Glock switches. Well, if it was an attempt, then why did this happen? If it was that easy to turn it, again, into being able to use Glock switches, what was the point? Now, the only caveat I can give them is maybe they looked at the lawsuits and how there's this term that they were using, like readily convertible, these Glocks. And of course, they were also going after Ruger RXMs and they were going after Shadow Systems, allegedly. That one we're not so sure about. They're going after all these different companies, including Glock and as well as Glock clones, claiming they were all, like, the term is easily convertible or readily convertible. They may have even gone deeper and saying without having to need any kind of machining or anything like that. I don't know. This seems pretty readily convertible into a machine gun, if you ask me. What do you guys think? Yeah, this is crazy. I just want to get this out there because, again, we've been talking about the situation as unfolded. And I think at this point, Glock is cooked. Enhance the trigger, but really, we all knew they were trying to prevent Glock switches from being used. Well, that didn't work. So, what was the net result? There's still going to be switches used in these Glocks now, and now they have lost their reputation and pretty much all credibility. So, how do I feel about it? I'm disappointed. Really disappointed. Was not planning on buying a Gen V. In fact, I'll show you something here. After they had announced that the Gen V was coming out and they were discontinuing Gen 3 through 5, including the MOS, may have splurged a little bit and decided to get one of those guns I've always wanted. In this case, a Gen 5 MOS Glock 19. I know, I've got a Gen 4 19. I've got Shadow Systems. I've got PSA daggers and all kinds of nonsense that are basically all Glock 19s. But I wanted this one. Why? Because it looks fancy. I like it. I'm a sucker for it. And I felt like maybe I wouldn't have the opportunity to buy this because of all the nonsense that Glock was doing. So I went ahead and got it. Now, after having bought it and to find out that the Gen V can still take switches with a little bit of slight machining, am I disappointed? Am I upset? Do I regret purchasing this Gen 5 MOS? Hell no. I think this is awesome. I mean, look at it. You know what I'm saying? Freaking love it. I did pay a little bit more because this is a little customized Cerakote finish with stippling and all that, but I think it was worth it. And I'll never buy a Gen V. So I went ahead and bought this while I still could. Anyways, that's all I got for you today. What do you guys think? Was this just a huge misstep for Glock? Or do you think they made the right decision? I don't know. Tell me what you think. We will see you next time.